You ever wake up one morning, coffee steaming in your mug, birds chirping like nothing's wrong, only to have your entire day explode because some busybody decides your dream project is their personal apocalypse? That's exactly what hit me last Saturday. I'd poured my soul into this backyard pergola, a simple wooden haven for barbecues and stargazing, right on my own slice of heaven. But Brenda Hargrove, our neighborhood's self-crowned queen of covenants, stormed my fence like a hurricane in pearls, screeching that it violated every rule in the HOA Bible. "This abomination ends now," she bellowed, her voice slicing through the fresh-cut grass smell like a chainsaw. And just like that, paradise cracked wide open. I froze mid-swing, hammer hovering over a beam that smelled of pine and promise. The sun beat down, hot and unyielding, turning my shirt into a second skin. Brenda's face was a mask of righteous fury, cheeks flushed pinker than her manicure, eyes bulging like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. "Alex Rivera, you tear this down immediately. It's an eyesore, a violation, a threat to property values." Her words tumbled out in a venomous rush, each one landing like a slap. I could hear the distant hum of lawnmowers, the lazy buzz of bees in my half-planted herb garden, but all that faded under her tirade. I checked the bylaws twice. My lot backed onto open green space. No restrictions on personal builds under 10 feet. But logic? That was Brenda's kryptonite. She wasn't alone for long. Her husband, a retired accountant with the build of a retired linebacker and the temper of a lit fuse, lumbered up behind her, toolbox in hand like he was auditioning for a demolition derby. "You heard the lady," he growled, his voice gravelly from years of chain-smoking in the garage. Sarah Jenkins from next door peeked over the fence, her phone already out, capturing every second for what I knew would be the next viral neighborhood gossip reel. The air thickened with tension, that metallic tang of impending storm, even though the sky was bluer than a summer postcard. I set the hammer down slow, deliberate, feeling my pulse throb in my temples. "Brenda," I said, wiping sweat from my brow with a forearm that left a muddy streak, "this is my land. My rules. You got a problem? Take it to the board, in writing." The gasp she let out, it echoed like a deflating balloon, sharp and theatrical. Her clipboard trembled in her grip, papers fluttering like trapped butterflies. "Your rules? This is Willow Creek Estates. Mr. Rivera, we have standards." She jabbed a finger at the pergola's skeleton, where vines I'd planned to weave through the lattice dangled like hopeful dreams. Tom's eyes narrowed, and he stepped closer. Close enough I caught the stale whiff of his aftershave mixed with yesterday's barbecue. "Standards you ignore while parking your RV on the street for weeks?" I shot back, my voice steady but laced with that low boil of frustration. "Yeah. Petty? Maybe. But after months of her passive-aggressive notes about my unkempt mailbox, it felt damn good." Sarah's camera zoomed in, click, click, immortalizing the standoff. Brenda's lips pursed into a thin line, and for a split second, I swear I saw doubt flicker in her eyes. But then, purist, "You'll regret this," she hissed, spinning on her sensible heels. Tom lingered, cracking his knuckles with a pop that made my stomach twist. As they retreated, their whispers trailed like smoke. "Call the board. Make him pay." That night, sleep dodged me like a greased pig. I tossed on sheets that smelled of sawdust and regret, replaying the scene, Brenda's screech echoing in my skull, Tom's shadow looming large. What if they were right? No, I dotted every I. By dawn, resolve hardened like cooling mortar. I hit the HOA portal at 6 a.m. Coffee bitter on my tongue, scrolling through archived minutes. And there it was, buried in last year's addendum, Brenda's own emergency gazebo, approved without a single neighbor vote. Hypocrite much? A grin cracked my face. Sharp as splintered wood. Twist of the knife, she'd finessed it through her president's perks. But the paperwork? Sloppy as a drunkard's doodle. My fingers flew over the keyboard, drafting an anonymous tip to the State Oversight Board. Revenge? Just karma with a forwarding address. Monday morning brought the backlash. Swift as a slap. I stepped out to the pergola, now half-framed. Its beams groaning under fresh coats of stain that gleamed like wet earth after rain, and froze. Overnight, someone had slashed the support posts. Deep gouges weeping sap like open wounds. The air hung heavy with the acrid bite of spray paint. HOA rules, scrawled in neon pink across my fence, dripping like accusatory tears. My heart slammed against my ribs. This wasn't notes or glares, this was war. Footprints in the dew-crushed grass led straight from Brenda's manicured lawn. Sarah was already out, pretending to water her azaleas. But her side eye screamed, I saw nothing. Rage bubbled up, hot and fizzy, mixing with a cold dread that prickled my skin. They retaliated. I didn't call the cops yet, not smart. Alex? Brief. Instead, I grabbed my phone, snapping pics with hands that shook just enough to blur the edges. The neighborhood app blew up by noon, anonymous posts decrying vandalism in our safe haven, but whispers pointed fingers at me. Brenda? Silent as a vault. But her Facebook story, a smug selfie with Tom at the country club, captioned, Upholding Excellence, was the cherry on top. Excellence? More like entitlement on steroids. I paced the yard, gravel crunching under my boots, the sun mocking me with its cheerful warmth. When out, let it slide? Hell no. That afternoon, I rallied my own crew, Mike from down the block. A laid-back welder with a laugh like thunder, and Lena, the quiet artist across the street who'd sketched my pergola idea months back. This ain't just wood, Mike said, slapping on gloves that smelled of motor oil. It's backbone. We patched the gashes. Voices low and laced with dark humor. Think Tom's got a future in abstract art? Lena quipped, her brush strokes turning scars into swirling vines. But the real storm hit Wednesday. I was elbow-deep in lattice work, the rhythmic tap-tap of hammer on nail syncing with my quickening pulse, when sirens wailed, distant at first, then screaming close. Blue lights flashed across my fence like erratic fireflies, and there they were, 2 officers from the county PD, badges glinting under the overcast sky that finally matched my mood. Brenda and Tom flanked them, her face a triumph of vindication, his arms crossed like prison bars. Officer, thank God you're here, she simpered, voice syrupy sweet. This man's been terrorizing the neighborhood, that illegal structure. The threats. Threats? My jaw clenched so tight I tasted blood. The lead cop, a no-nonsense woman named Reyes with eyes like polished obsidian, held up a hand. Ma'am, we're not here for that. Got a report of property damage. And video evidence. The twist landed like a gut punch. Sweet. Nosy Sarah had flipped. Her footage from that first clash? Crystal clear. Tom sneaking over at midnight, can of paint in hand, muttering curses under his breath. She turned it in anonymously after Brenda's latest, friendly reminder about her own fence height. The air went still, save for the distant rumble of thunder, as Reyes cuffed Tom's wrists, click, cold and final. Brenda's world shattered right there, her clipboard clattered to the grass, pages scattering like fallen leaves, her mouth opening and closing in fish-like gasps. This is a mistake. He's the vandal. But the dashcam on my ring? It caught her egging him on from the shadows, her whisper carrying on the wind, make it hurt. Tom. Looked like the boot was on the other foot now. As the cruiser pulled away, Brenda crumpled against my fence, tears carving mascara rivers down her cheeks. For the first time, she looked small, not the dragon lady, just a woman who'd built her kingdom on sand. "Why?" she whimpered, voice cracking like dry timber. Close enough to smell her floral perfume soured by defeat. "Because rules apply to everyone. Brenda. Even you." The words hung heavy, laced with a sigh that escaped me unbidden, relief. Yeah. But pity too. Mike and Lena watched from the porch, the pergola standing taller behind us, vines curling like Victor's laurels. In the end, the board dissolved her presidency faster than ice in July. Fines reversed. My build greenlit with apologies in triplicate. But the real win? That night, under a sky stitched with stars, we fired up the grill, smoke curling lazy and savory, laughter echoing freer than before. Turns out, standing your ground isn't about the fight, it's about the fire it ignites in you. And damn, does it burn bright. So next time some Karen comes knocking, swing back with truth, not fists. Your story's worth the scars.